edition of T-Limbs Presents The Bridge. I'm Shante Wright, and I'd like to welcome your family to our family and our distinguished panelists that we have. We have a dynamic show for you guys today. We have a guest panelist that's going to bring you some really good information. Mr. John Cheeks, I would like to say welcome.
Thank you.
Of course, you guys know Twyla, Teresa here, and Francis. He's with us, you know, not only in spirit, but physically. We also like to thank Reggie and Ron, our two guru technicians that makes this all possible. I want to send a quick shout out to everybody that participate in the Vox Wave program. You know, we all need to support each other, so let's watch each other's show. So we have to, you know, start here and spread that unity abroad. So I just want to send that out to everybody that has a program on the Vox channel. The Vox Wave, you know what I mean? So I want y'all to participate, and not only them, but you know, just our listening audience. If you have any comments, anything, suggestions, please feel free to comment. You can contact us at 240-719-2560. You know something? I got tongue tied because you know, because I didn't have to look up or anything. You know, like I would normally would do. But please contact us with your comments and your suggestions or anything that can make us better. Because again, this show is for you. It's about you, to bring you information that we need in order to unify us as one. So again, contact us at 240-719-2560. Now, at this point, I would like to turn this over to our panel guru, Twyla. Twyla.
Thank you. I want to recap what we did last week. Last week we tore apart, well, to some degree, we're going to pick it up on the opposite side next week, the speech that Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King did, the Two Americas. And we were just going parsing. We didn't get all the way through it, but the main thing that we talked about was the racism from that speech. And because it was racism, when he said was the root of it, the 67 Kings, what we said last week, was what got 68 King killed. Not the 63, I have a dream and all the march and all this kumbaya. It was the 67 King who was talking about economic solvency. He was talking about what America owed to the descendants of African slaves. And so we have had this argument for many years about reparations. Yes. And we have someone here today who lays down the format a long ways down. Not everyone's going to jump on the bandwagon, but this man's been putting it down long before everyone else was talking about reparations, recovery, this and that and everything. Let's kind of set the stage a little bit. In D.C., there was a D.C. Compensated Emancipation Act, and it was in 1862. And what it did was it gave the owners of slaves that lived in Washington, D.C., up to $500 for every slave that they were going to have to free. So they received monies for their loss of income. The slaves were released, and we know that the Emancipation Proclamation was signed in 1864, and it really didn't free us. It was just something on a piece of paper that said we were emancipated. But before that, and right around that time, people started talking about what we're going to do for these slaves. You had the Union, you had the Confederate. And the Union did this commission with these black soldiers. Well, they had a problem afterwards. It was William Tecumseh Sherman. He was a general. So there was a field order that was done in like 1864 or 1866. And it's special order number 15. Now, I don't know about you all, but I know growing up and hearing this all the time, people would say, we were promised 40 acres and a mule.
Yes.
It's a lie. It's a lie.
What, I don't get my hee-haw? Where's my hee-haw? My donkey? My jack? You know the rest of that jack, but anyway, I'm sorry.
It was a lie because what it is that it was a special order number 15. William Tecumseh Sherman. It was a field order. So that meant the United States was not beholden to it. That field order said that we will give, they took 400,000 acres of land in South Carolina and in Georgia and in Florida. And then what they were doing is they were going to give this land to, they called them black refugees.
Or contrabands.
Contrabands.
We still weren't Americans, though.
Yeah, they
No,
didn't.
but
I'm just, we still weren't considered Americans.
they were trying to find a place for us, they said, or for those, only for a certain group of people, too. And it was in South Carolina, it was in Georgia, and Florida. And so the promise was up to 40 acres. There was conversation with some of the ministers got together and said, well, how can we till this land? What are we going to do with this land if we don't have a beast of burden? That's when the mule came in. But here's the kick in the head. When you look and read that special order, which I ended up reading it all the way down, it was not guaranteed that that land was for permanent ownership.
That's interesting.
Yeah. So even though when we think about the 40 acres, well, so when President Andrew Johnson came out 2 years later and said, I'm going to rescind that, he ended up taking back all those lands. Now, there were a few that were able to maintain the property, but for the most part, that was it. But that was only in South Carolina, Georgia, and Florida. Did you hear what I said? South Carolina, Georgia, and Florida. So then in 1894, the Senate came and started talking about reparations. That was the first time the United States Senate ever talked about it. And what they were talking about was doing $500 for every slave, former slave, and their children, and a pension of between $4 to $15 a month. And that was it. But that died on the floor, $4 to $15 a month. And then that kept coming up almost every Senate cycle until World War I. Then it was just eliminated off the face, and that was it. So let's fast forward to 1969. Talking about SNCC. James Morgan made this thing called the Black Manifesto, and if you ever get a chance to read it, which you should because Google is the secretary that everybody got, read it. The actual manuscript is online in a typewriter written. It was written typewriter. And what it was talking about was that the main gist was what he's saying was that $500 million should be given from churches and synagogues in America for their role and their beneficiary of the enslavement and the slave trade and slave activity in this country.
Wait a second. The slave owner was getting this restitution.
No. This is
I'm
from
asking.
1969.
Yeah.
Okay.
The Black Manifesto, $500 million is what James Morgan said that the churches and the synagogues. Yeah, I said synagogues. We're supposed to be given back to black people for their benefit that they made from slavery.
Oh, okay. So this is where the whole concept of the wall comes in, right?
James Morgan was a forward-thinking man. But where did we lose that conversation? Because that was, now he was the head of SNCC. James Morgan was head of SNCC. And, you know, that was also the group that our wonderful Stokely Carmichael was part of. And we know that he was on that same movement. Now, Stokely Carmichael, his story really has never been told. And not to my satisfaction. I think that if people would actually really revisit and start digging up and start talking to people that actually knew him in real time, that you'll find out that he was one of the most dynamic leaders that we've ever had in this country.
Oh, absolutely.
In the world.
You know something, too, and some of the black youths of the time, you know, you would think, or they would have you think that they were, well, they wouldn't sag in their pants, but they were hoodlums and this. These guys were college students.
Yeah,
exactly.
You know what I mean? And Huey had a PhD or something, didn't he? Exactly. So these guys were in tune to the times and what was going on, and again, but how they were portrayed to the world was like they're militant. But you know something, their power and their initiative was so felt that it was felt worldwide. Like you had mentioned last week, how many people knew that it was a white Black Panther?
Yeah, White Panther Party.
Oh, yeah, Panther
White
Party.
Panther Party.
You know something, that was something that was new to me and probably new to them. You know, you think a White Panther, you think an albino lion or something. you know what I mean? But I mean, you know something. But again, we had dynamic, young leaders, this is why we need you to be involved in this bridge thing, because it's for you and the future is you. So again, tune in. But again, how they were portrayed in this manner to which, they were significant in a lot of these changes that we so-called have now, if you
We
will.
would have a meal on wheels if it wasn't
Right.
for the Panthers.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
They
exactly.
started a lot of, especially the food programs,
Yeah.
I think were phenomenal. And more than that, I think it's so important for us as we move forward as a people and a culture, all to read, go take another history lesson and read the real truth. There are several good books out that we can read, and I know Netflix had a wonderful feature article on it that was phenomenal. So it's so important for us to educate ourselves about the things that like you said, that we've done
Yeah.
and the movement did to really
Yeah.
further us
Yeah.
in a positive way.
PBS had a series, what is Still I Rise? That was a few months ago that did a little
I
bit
still
of
have an issue with
history.
some of those things.
Well,
Oh
yeah.
man, it was so informative. Like I said, at this stage in my life, and I grew up during those times, but I was too young to kind of participate. But I was aware of what was going on, and so much was missed as far as being told or his story.
Yeah, his story.
Not history.
Right,
His
his
story.
story.
You know what I mean? So again, we missed out on so much, and there's so much out there for us.
Yes.
You know something? If we knew, again, our identity, we wouldn't have all this chaos that's going on within our communities now.
That's so
I
true.
believe.
That's so
We would have some much more unity than what we have now. You know what I mean? Because now we had those stand-up brothers back then that wasn't taking no mess. So
Well, I think we got, we'll talk about that on the opposite side of the break, but I think we got them now.
Well,
Yeah.
I agree. And I ain't talking about the ones that's up there on the hill dusting off them seats, with their backside. So we ain't talking about them. The carcass. You know how I feel about the carcass. Right. Yeah. A carcass is dead. So
With that,
that's them.
we're going to take a quick
Anyway.
break. Don't go nowhere. Don't touch that dial. We want you to stick around for a long, long while. And on the opposite
Absolutely.
side, we'll be getting right to Mr. Cheeks
Absolutely.
right here.
Everyone has a story to tell, and I know you do too. But you don't know where or how to start? Imagination Press will help you. Write, edit, and publish your book on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Lulu.com, Ingram, as well as helping you reach markets across the globe. Call us today on 301-379-2709 for a free one-on-one consultation, or visit our website and send us an email, imaginationpressonline.com. Again, that's imaginationpressonline.com. Imagination Press is your complete guide to publishing, branding, and promotions. Give us a call today.
Thank you for joining us. First of all, we want you to hit that button, like button. We want you to hit the share button. We want you to hit the subscribe button, comments. You can find us on connecttothebridge.com, Connect to the Bridge on YouTube, Connect to the Bridge on Instagram, and Connect to the Bridge on Facebook. Right. So now we're going to get back to the meat of the meal. Last little caveat I have for you. 1980, the United States government awarded $122 million to the Sioux Nations and the other Indian tribes. Monies that they said that for the way that they took the land from them. Now, I'm a member of the Cherokee Nation. I told you how it went out dispersed. Some people are part of the Black Freedmen, and they took them off the rolls. And I remember watching this happen and also working with Dr. Claude to try to correct that wrong. Then in 1988, the United States paid $12 billion, you hear me with a B, to the Japanese descendants and some of the survivors,
Hold up, say that again.
descendants,
One more time.
descendants.
Y'all got that right. Not the actual folks, but descendants. So we got a check coming. But anyway, I'm just
Mercy
saying,
sakes.
they owe us, man. You know what I mean?
Paid this money for the wrongful internment during World War II. They took Japanese citizens. Now, if you go out to Seattle, you'll find there's the Wing Luke Museum, and they have whole historical data, and you can even go. Seattle is a city built on top of a city. See, because the old Seattle's up underneath the actual
Didn't
city.
it burn or something?
Engineering, say like that. We know there's tunnels everywhere.
Or was
It's
a
like
bunch of us under there?
No,
You know what I
find-
mean?
Well,
We're over here.
Yeah.
Okay, exactly. Exactly.
We're at the Capitol, the memorial,
Exactly. So it's an underground, all right.
and the White House.
At the White House, right.
We're under there, too.
Absolutely.
Okay. And then during the Obama administration, $940 million was awarded to the native tribes. 940, that's almost $1 billion. I want you to pause on that a minute. Not one of those people are alive. Some of them were great, 3 times, 4 times great removed and received that money.
So again, descendants.
My issue, and I'm going to say this because I'm saying what I'm saying. All skin folks, not kin folk. Our issues were never addressed. The reason why I did not vote for Obama on the second time around, yes, I'm telling you, this is the truth, is because when I looked at his record, as far as what he said about reparations, he said, I'm against them. It's record. Hillary Clinton said the same thing for all you feminists that love Hillary. Bernie Sanders, same thing. They all said that they would run and not put that on their platform. So what I'm going to need for you to do, when we do the walk to walk, you need to hear real closely what your marching orders are going to be for this week. Having said all of that, I present to you Mr. John Cheeks.
All righty.
Well, good evening to the audience, or whatever time zone you're in at this present moment. I'm John Cheeks. I'm the proposer and the author of the U.S. Recovery Act. The reason why I say U.S. is because it goes nationwide. But we're going to start it here in the District of Columbia first. It's a subtle approach to go after restitution that's owed to descendants of slaves. I'm a child of a slave. I assume you are. I assume you are.
Yes.
I assume you are.
I think this
I
tan
assume.
kind of.
Well, you don't know.
Well,
You
the
don't
other
know.
folks wasn't tan, and they.
Well, you don't know. Some people may not want to identify to us until we get money.
Exactly. Well, yeah, exactly.
This has been a work in progress. It's been a 2 to 3 year effort with the U.S. Recovery Act. We're going to start it here in the district first, District of Columbia, because of the uniqueness of D.C. It's not a state, it's a territory. And that's a beautiful thing to have right now, trying to, I should say, retrieve wealth. Once we get the Initiative Act in motion in the district, the people vote on it, that's it. The rest of the nation must follow suit because it's a federal territory. It becomes federal law.
Wow, that's good.
Okay?
That's good.
So hold off on statehood until after we get our money. We don't need the state. We need the money.
Very good point.
Please
There's
don't
a
go.
reason for everything, so maybe that's why.
Yes, please don't go for the state. Let's go for the money first. That is so important right now as a collective group of children of slaves. So that's what we are. Writing this Initiative Act took a lot out of me, mentally
It was painstaking.
and physically.
Yeah.
A lot of signals that I would ignore. You know, when they say your ancestors are talking to you, I've heard my ancestors speak to me.
Wow.
I saw the pain through a dream one night
Wow.
on the passage of a ship.
Wow.
I felt the pain of the sting of a burn, of a brand.
Wow.
My family arrived here in the Americas, in the colonies, in 1710. Okay, it's documented. We arrived in 1710. I know the parts of Africa where I'm from.
Wow.
Wow.
That's a blessing.
Okay, the Congo, Botswana, and Angola. We were traded by the Roman Catholic Church
Wow.
to get to the Americas.
Hold up, not the Catholic Church that got Kenny G, right? That came over and visit Francis and them, remember?
Well,
That's what we talked about last week. Same Catholic Church.
Yeah, you know, they had Kenny G come over talking about, you know, follow me and I'll lead you to,
well, yeah.
you know, but I'm sorry.
We are a injured populace of people.
Right.
Yes.
Let's face it, we
Yes.
hold a lien against the United States of America.
Well put.
At least 50% of it.
Yes.
Okay? The other 30% we have a claim on, such as out in California and the West Coast, where we had to migrate from the South and move over west
Right.
to find a better life. Okay? And of course, California was appealing and attractive to the southern belt of people. Of course, here in the eastern part, we migrated from other parts, Carolina, Virginia, Florida, and moved to Maryland and Massachusetts. But slavery existed in all over the country.
Yeah.
At least 50% of it. This year marks the 400th year anniversary.
Yes. Yes.
1619 through 2019 is 400 years. Speaking of federal workers without getting paid, how about 400 years? We were the federal workers.
Yes.
That's right there.
That's funny, though. That's a good point.
Federal workers.
Yes.
And we were the federal workers. I want that to sink in a minute.
We built the forts. There would not be a fort on the New England coastline if it was not for the black American slave.
Wow.
Or a capital, for that matter.
Or capital, or cities, or infrastructure locations. It wouldn't be any of that. You know, we would not have a country, a whole country.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, we wouldn't have that. And a lot of us forget that. We celebrate living in America. It's okay to celebrate living in America. But America owes us. Now, is there a way that America could pay us without causing friction between white and black or yellow and red? Of course.
Sure, considering everyone else has gotten paid.
Yes.
That's the whole thing.
Yes.
People always talk about wanting to, slavery happened over 400 years ago. And I get this is the argument that I always get. My family, they weren't slave owners. I know you've heard that. My family didn't own slaves. Or my family died so your people could be free.
Well, that could be a case too. That
That could be a case.
That
That
could be a
doesn't mean you
case.
don't owe me.
Well,
or this government doesn't owe, or this government.
Here's what we have concocted a formula that will work for all people. Okay, we don't want the taxpayers' money anymore.
Right.
We don't want your public housing anymore. We want the wealth and the benefits that come with the wealth to be given to us. We don't want no more public housing. We want to give the public housing to the occupants. We want to convert them into homeowners.
Wow, that's good.
Okay,
That's
we
good stuff.
want to do that conversion.
That's
So
good.
that way, it takes the burden off of all the taxpayers, white, black, red, and yellow.
Wow.
Okay, we'll save $1 billion in the District of Columbia if we just remove that one item and converted public housing into community housing
I like that.
and give it to the children of slaves who mostly occupy public housing
Those areas.
because
right.
of the injury.
Absolutely.
Right.
Because of the injury.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
People speak of not to get off the subject, but people speak of reparations. We should not ever use reparations ever again in life walking on these grounds.
The title of reparations, are you speaking?
Don't ever use the legal word reparations for our injury.
Well, thank you.
It does not apply to us. It applies to the Japanese. It applies to the Native Americans. It applies to the Jewish population. We do not have a country that has recognized us as their lost people or children or stolen people. It will come with a price.
Right.
Okay? Now, we go into reparations. Let me ask you a question. Are you ready to do what the Reparations Act calls us to do in this country? We would have to go and storm the shores of Western Africa, military-wise, with gun, Air Force, Navy, Marine Corps, to fight to go and get our identity back and reclaim the land or the state of place where we were at that time.
Wow.
Are we ready as black Americans to band up and do that? We have never stormed the shores of Africa under warfare. The military-industrial complex, we don't want them to say, oh, well, you wanted reparations, didn't you? Come on, sign up. Let's go. And that's, reparations goes into that angle as well as criminal angles against the government and people who live inside of what was known as slave holders in this country and corporations. So that's why reparations never got off the ground for us.
Well, I'm glad you stopped there, Mr. Cheeks, because this is an opportunity for us to take a break, and I'm like chomping at the bit to hear the rest of the story.
Absolutely.
So we'll be back shortly.
Ghana, a stable political environment within the West African sub-region with established democratic institutions and systems to ensure good governance in the country. Strategically located in the center of the world with easy access to EU, US, South America, Asia and African markets. Tema Port, a developed seaport with duty-free imports on manufacturing equipment. With an ongoing renovation and expansion, the port is aiming to transform into the largest shipping hub for West Africa. A world-class airport designed to meet the latest International Air Transport Association requirements. Ghana has international standard logistics infrastructure to local, regional and global companies, with modern road infrastructure giving easy access to West African market of over 370 million population. Over 60% arable land and 336,000 irrigable land available for commercial farming, presenting expanding opportunities in agro-processing. Producing oil in commercial quantities since 2010, and the introduction of more sustainable sources of power significantly increased the country's energy sources. With a mobile penetration rate of 79.94% and voice penetration of 132.44%, the highest number of fiber optic points in the West African sub-region, and the fintech industry worth over $32.49 billion, Ghana's ICT sectors ensures the highest quality of global connectivity. Ghana's growing consumer market is providing compelling reasons to invest in the services sector. Modernized healthcare, which is second in Africa and fourth in the World Health Governance Capacity Index. Ghana is committed to its education development with the aim of producing a well-educated workforce. The country is focused on housing and infrastructure with existing demand of over 2 million units nationwide, with a robust ecosystem of fast-growing banks, non-banking financial institutions, and a well-established stock exchange. Ghana is known for diverse wildlife, colorful culture, numerous World Heritage sites and world-class hotels, which makes the country one of Africa's favorite tourist destinations. The government of Ghana, through the Ghana Investment Promotion Center, is committed to driving investment reforms to improve the ease of doing business for both local and foreign investors. Welcome to limitless possibilities in a steadily advancing and dynamic economy.
Welcome back, family. You guys missed a interesting conversation in reference to what we were talking about before. And again, I was telling Mr. Cheeks, this is what the bridge is trying to do. We don't want to storm the continent or the coastline, and we're not using that word reparation no more because we're not going to do it that way.
Yes.
But now we're glad to have you back, and Mr. Cheeks, if you will continue where you left off at, because he has so much information that's important for us to hear and for us to know.
Yes.
If you've ever noticed, to our viewing public, I want you all to try what we call when you're doing a study in the field, what is it called?
Field study.
Survey.
Yeah.
Survey.
Yeah.
Survey. Tell someone you want recovery benefits. Look at their attitude. They become happy. Tell someone you want reparations.
Yes. Good point.
Look at their attitude.
Good point.
Just try that survey.
Good point.
Try it and see the
difference.
the emotional either embrace or
Yes.
whoa, wait a minute.
That's a good
You
point.
can't get the word reparations. The act is a very aggressive. It's hostile. It goes into to locking people up at random who once have owned slaves.
That word, it seems to me, represents their history, or that stain. You know what I mean?
It's a dark chapter.
Yeah. So
it's a dark chapter.
again, when you say reparation, no.
Well, keep in mind, I was recruited to do this.
Wow.
And it wasn't our ethnic population of people that recruited me to do this. You know, I didn't know anything about the entire difference of acts, Recovery Act or Reparations Act. Okay, Recovery Act is geared toward retrieving wealth and building benefits and restoring benefits,
Yes.
allowing you to go to the school of your choice. Okay, college,
Yes.
vocational, university, pick your choice. Open enrollment, open acceptance, no testing. That's out. You want to be a medical doctor? Fine. This is what it takes. This is what you have to do. You're in there. We have never been afforded the right to participate on that level in our academia society.
Right.
Now, our academia society has built the majority of their institutions off of the backs of our ancestors.
True.
Harvard, Princeton, Yale,
Georgetown.
Right, Georgetown University. Well, the Catholic Church, that is Georgetown.
Yeah.
Most of your Catholic universities who have been here for a longer period of time, if they haven't tried to roll the date back to 1885.
Lies,
They use 1885 as a method, as a cooling point, so that we don't question, but we know it happened before. Unlike your material industries, your food and beverage industry, a lot of us, we like drinking bourbon or whiskey or scotch or gin. That was made by slaves. The bourbon industry owes Black America lots and lots of money.
So then you're talking about going after corporations.
We're going after any
everybody.
product that made wealth off of slavery.
Okay.
From toilets to public utilities, water, fresh water. Okay? Fresh water was purified by who? Slaves. And your job classification was a domestic worker in the big house. The owners of slaves could not take baths, could not drink water unless it was purified. Okay? Either by the slave men or the slave women or the slave children.
I never knew that.
There was a process to take a bath.
Wow.
back in those days.
Wow.
So we have to understand the plumbing industry.
Wow.
Toilets, bathtubs, we'll get a percentage off each product that's being sold that evolved from slavery. The cotton industry, as you know, the sugar, the tobacco, the timber industry, the brick industry, the concrete industry, the stone industry. You know, all of those industries that made this country wealthy and great owes us, and it's not hard for them to achieve the amount to pay us. In the District of Columbia, the average black American who is a descendant of a slave by way of America or through the West Indies, and understand what I'm saying, the West Indies. I understand we all know the people of the West Indies. Jamaica, Haiti being the first and the most.
Right.
We need to open our doors up to Haiti and do more trade and production with Haiti, because Haiti fought for their independence.
Yes, they did. Yes, they did.
To be free of slavery.
Yes.
Mr.
We should not,
Cheeks,
yes.
We have an article that's going to be posted on our website very soon. We had written it for a magazine in Ghana, Atu, and it's about this very same thing about the Haitian involvement in the American Revolution and how they were treated afterwards, with no country to go back to, and some of them were even enslaved. They were captured during enslavement.
The French, back to where you are, the French made a horrible mistake by sending their reject Haitian army slaves to New Orleans. The rejects, the men who couldn't pass the balance of boot camp. What a mistake that was.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Well, they banded together, and they revolted at the plantations where the sugar and the cotton was grown. Okay, but unfortunately, that only survived for a month or two until a militia, the National Guard, seized them and hanged them and chopped their heads off and did many other things. They revolted with other slaves. The state of Louisiana was a mecca for good militiamen. That's how New Orleans,
Saints.
not Saints, but
not Saints,
the city of New Orleans. That's how it was freed from the War of 1812 with Andrew Jackson.
Yeah.
Andrew Jackson was not the hero.
True.
It was the heroes were our ancestors, slaves who they converted into militiamen, okay, to fight the French from taking the state of Louisiana and whatever other parts back. And when the war was won with Andrew Jackson, they gave him a bogus contract saying, okay, you live past the war, you're free. Where a lot of our ancestors made the mistake, men, they went back for the women that they wanted to be free off the plantation. Then the government of the state of Louisiana drafted a law saying the property line crossover. You cross over a person's property line, you become their what? Property. So when the man crossed over the property line of the slave owner, he then was enslaved again.
They always change the rules.
Right. The other slave, the other soldiers who were slaves, the smart ones, I believe they migrated westward toward Oklahoma or somewhere through territories or Texas or somewhere that may have allowed them to be their person. But for the men who returned back to the plantations where their women of interest were, because it was against the law for us to be married during slavery. Okay, it was against the law for us to read, for us to write, to do math, to do any functional literacy model that one could enhance themselves to be I should say, an upstanding citizen. So that's why inside of the U.S. and the District of Columbia Recovery Act, it goes into free education. Okay? Any school or any university within the parameter wherever slavery existed, you'll be able to walk on and be admitted without an entrance exam.
This is we want to start
Once
here
we
in the
vote,
district,
yes, we're starting here in the district.
and we want to go countrywide.
Nationwide.
Nationwide. Okay, very good.
Nationwide.
Yes.
So where are
And if you've paid for your tuition or books, you could have graduated 30, 40 years ago. You'll get a refund check from that university or for paying for your
Mr. Chief,
tuition.
do me one quick favor. Tell them what that Recovery Act again.
Yes.
We want this drilled in their
Yeah.
head.
The new name that we came up with is called the District of Columbia and the U.S. Recovery Act. That is the name. The District of Columbia and the U.S. Recovery Act. That is the new name for the injury of slavery throughout the entire country.
One more time.
The District of Columbia and the United States Recovery Act. That is the name of our injury. That is the name of the, the resolution, settlement agreement that we will be asking for throughout the nation. Now, it goes also into bringing families back together again for men and women who have gotten a divorce. And, of course, children have always been our greatest asset. And we know sometimes people use children to even further tear people apart. Being that black men have suffered a big casualty on the forefront of the family.
The family.
Black women have too, but the system converts this into what's called child support.
Very good.
Child support has injured the black family
Yes.
since the Clinton days.
Yes. And
Okay, people don't understand that.
the three strikes.
Child support has injured the black family since the Clinton days. Now, granted, we know children need money, they need this, they need that. That's all understandable. When you lock a man up, or you take his check, or you go after his worldly possessions, or give him a stain on his credit,
Yes.
he can't go for the job
Right.
that's necessary
Right.
to feed
And you
his
lock him
family.
out.
And that caused
If
all
it
that
doesn't
anguish.
work.
Yeah.
Okay, now in this case, the Recovery Act goes into repayment of that injury to the man.
Wow.
So any male has paid into the child support fund, they will get their money returned back in full. For however many years, however much money you paid, comes right back to you. Black men and black women were never afforded the right legally to be parents in this country.
That's an important point. That's an important
That's
point.
an injury.
That's an
That's an
important
injury. People don't understand that. We were never afforded the right until, 150 years ago to be a parent?
Yes.
To give birth and say, this is my child?
Wow.
You
Yeah.
never had that right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay? So this is a system that we have to correct.
Yes.
And we can fix
Yes.
it without causing strain on each individual.
Yeah.
Who knows? The father get his money back, he might give it right back, some wealth back to his children. You never know.
Right.
You never know.
Right.
It will help build wealth in those areas.
Right.
Mr. Cheeks, I have a question. So I'm just curious, once we give these monies back, when we get them, because I'm speaking in the affirmative, yes.
Yes.
Very good.
That is affirmative. It will happen.
Yes,
yes,
it will
it
happen.
will happen.
When we do, what is the educational process? Are we doing anything in terms of educating people now with this new wealth?
We're going to start holding seminars and group studies on what the Recovery Act will do and will not do. We'll probably start holding that in March.
Okay.
February, we're going to submit it to the D.C. Board of Elections So it'll be on
Are we
there.
going to take this to all the campuses? Because
we
to
can
get
do
these
that
young
too.
kids involved,
Motivated,
yes,
yes.
and
Yes.
motivated,
Yes.
yes, exactly.
Yes,
So-
we're trying to target our filing date on February 19th, 2019, doing Black History. We want that to be a very positive number to go into the Board of Elections and say, hey, this is our moment.
Yes.
We're here. Let's do this. We've already tried once before. We had to withdraw because I forgot the financial version of the law out. And it's hard getting the Initiative Act in and then adding to it. You won't be successful. You have to bring it all,
everything
yes, right there.
Yes, yes, yes,
you
yes,
know,
yes, yes.
and not miss any I's dotted or T's crossed.
So is there anything we can do right
Absolutely.
now, Joe Citizen, to move it quickly and forward?
Tell us that after the break.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Tell us that after the break, because we
Okay.
got it. That means you. That means you. That means you.
Everyone has a story to tell, and I know you do too. But you don't know where or how to start? Imagination Press will help you. Write, edit, and publish your book on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Lulu.com, Ingram, as well as helping you reach markets across the globe. Call us today on 301-379-2709 for a free one-on-one consultation, or visit our website and send us an email, imaginationpressonline.com. Again, that's imaginationpressonline.com. Imagination Press is your complete guide to publishing, branding, and promotions. Give us a call today.
Before the break, we left off with, what can you do? Mr. Cheeks is going to tell you exactly what you and can, should, and commit and say, I will do.
Give me my mirror.
Excuse me, this is his.
Yeah. you,
Make it plain.
you, what you can do. Okay.
Okay, let's start off with a very basic understanding what you can do as a interested and prospective benefactor. Stop using the word reparations.
Number one.
Number two, use the word recovery. Number three, be prepared mentally for this wave of benefits to come your way. Know what you're going to do. This law does not give cash out until you're 55 years old or over. At 55 years old, you'll be worth $650,000 in cash. But there's a catch. You have to be a homeowner. If you don't own a home, you'll be given a certificate of home ownership to go out and buy a home wherever the participating state or territory you live. No credit checks, no credit scores required. All the credit scores are eliminated for the children of slaves. Our credit score is impeccable for free labor for 400 years.
Okay.
Cars. This will turn the economic engine of this country in turbo speed. We have to be ready. We have to have a plan in mind. You get a voucher for $650,000 to purchase a home or a condo somewhere in the District of Columbia. Let's just use the word 55, the age 55. If it's $400,000, you'll get the rest back in cash. So you go out and buy a house for $1 million, then you'll owe that much, the difference of the money. Now, if you're 80, you're worth $900,000. And of course, you'll have to be a homeowner. You can't be a person to take the cash and not buy a home, because this is going to eliminate, I should say, homelessness problems or the lack of housing. There will be no more homeless Black Americans. Matter of fact, I would say in the country, I'm going to be affirmative, after this law is passed. That will be eliminated because, as you know, we all were homeless after the Civil War or during the Civil War.
Right.
Yeah.
That's right.
That's where the word came from. Squatter, homeless, contraband. All those words were designed after us, after our ancestors, living in the streets. So when you walk by a homeless person who is Black, don't look down on them. That could have been our ancestors at one time.
Wow.
Only except they weren't living in the streets, they were living in the woods and hiding away from the oppressor from coming in to either jail them to get free labor
Or enslave them again.
or enslave them again somewhere. So that's what this act will do for the Black American community. Now, if you are married to someone opposite your race, European, that's fine too. They can ride off of your benefits during the time that you're married. You only get 3 times to use your benefits. So if you go out and squander your benefits, you have 3 times. Okay, after that, you'll be going back into the credit worthiness situation. So you will have a conscious mind. We will have our best and our brightest students developing businesses to show us how to spend money, how to purchase a home or a condo, how to live as productive citizens of this country, which we are. We always have been productive. During slavery, there was no unemployment. Everybody was working. Children, women, men, everyone was working. Even the person at the rightful age of 80 or 100.
That's right.
They made them work. So we have to look at things from a perspective that we are ready to launch into wealth. There's nothing wrong with money. It's a good feeling to have wealth.
And that's the difference of having wealth versus money. And that's something that I know we talk about with our good friend, Dr. Claude Anderson, is about the economies that don't exist within our neighborhoods that could exist once we are recompensated.
And also, by the way, we'll be a protected class of people when we receive this housing opportunity. I don't know if you all remember, but my father had 2 cars. He had the Sunday car and he had the hoopty. The everyday car going to the job because he didn't want the guy to see him pulling up in his new Sunday car because then he would risk the chance of being fired. Okay? He didn't want him to see that. So, but we're going to protect you, but we don't expect for you to pull up in your job with a Rolls Royce and making minimum wage. We don't want to see you do that. Driving on the Sunday out of the city. But nevertheless, we're going to protect our people from having another injury, which plagued us as recent as the Bush administration. He tried to help create fair housing, but we somehow, what is it, the eyes are bigger than the stomach, we went for the big houses, and of course we couldn't hold on to them. But nevertheless, in the event that we do decide to go for the big house, we'll be protected from losing the home if the job fires us. So if the job fires us, we will then have to kick into what's called community service to pay the mortgage. We'll have to volunteer 20 hours a week for some church, some local government, some federal government, some academia institution, and that will pay our mortgage during the down period. So you'll be able to go to work and comfortably work, and if the guy says, hey, we can't no longer use your talents anymore, and you have that mortgage note looking at you, if you're under 55, you're not going to lose your wealth.
Mr. Chief, let me jump in here right quick to ask you a quick question.
Can't beat that.
No, you can't.
With this mass incarceration that we are experiencing now in our communities, how would that affect them?
Oh, they would be. They would
Because
be.
that's
they-
today's slavery,
Well,
in a sense.
that is a form of slavery.
Yeah.
Slavery was evolved from jailing people,
Yeah.
and I hate to say it, but our law enforcement agencies need to understand that, domestic that is. They participated. The U.S. Marshals were founded to track and trail runaway slaves. Okay? I'm just a little puzzled when I see our black American U.S. Marshals wearing that uniform and wondering, I wonder if they know that these people tracked and trailed their ancestors
No, they don't know.
and brought them back either dead or alive.
Yeah.
Well, I tell you what, this has been one of the most fascinating hours, and it was so it went by so fast. We have to thank you so much.
Yes.
And please
Absolutely.
Come back.
Yes.
I will.
Not to cut you off, but you can use this platform as a springboard
Yes.
or whatever
Well,
that you want to get out there to the
Yeah.
public.
Not a problem.
Yes.
Feel welcome. This is your home, your
Yes.
family too.
Yes.
We want to get these people motivated because, you know, so again, like I said, this is for you. This is for you. You got to get involved
Yes.
because collectively we can get this done.
Yes.
You're old.
Well, here's our marching order for this week. Walk the walk. One, we give you an update on Angela Davis. We've been talking about it for about 2 Sundays now. Well, the Birmingham Civil Rights Institute, Ms. Taylor, rescinded and said we're going to give the award, the Fred Shuttlesworth Award, to Angela Davis. Shaking my head. Okay. It's too little, too late. Like we said last week, you didn't want. You were a coward. You were a coward in how this whole situation. So she still is going to be in Birmingham, but there's a different group that's going to be honoring her. And we thank that grassroots group that's going to honor Sister Angela Davis for her work in the field as a civil rights leader.
Right on, sister.
Not just a voice, a leader. And so we thank you for all those who called, who sent letters, who emailed, who took your money out of giving it to that institute as a form of protest, because they understand protest when we put our money back. Walk the walk. What can you do? This week, this is the homework assignment. As you know, as an educator, I have to give you something to study. I want you to go to the uscria.com website. I want you to read over every screen and every word that's on that site. I want you to sit down and take copious notes. That's what I want you to do. And then there's a button there on there that clicks on and says, how can I get involved? I need you to make a conscious decision after you've taken your notes and studied and see what kind of commitment it's going to require from you and join on this worthwhile cause. Oh, and some of you didn't get your 2 packs of paper and pencils to the schools. I know who you are. $2.12 for 2 packs of paper and $1.06 for a pack of pencils. Tell you, drop them off in them schools. In your neighborhoods, just go to the office, okay? We'd like to thank Mr. John Cheeks again and our sponsors for this hour. Please come back. Hit the share button. ConnectToTheBridge.com. And we'll see you the same time next week. We're going to finish up talking about tying this back into the other America. Until then, Ron, take us home.
Do what you do.